Hi, Mike Iverson again. Today's December 22nd, and our antiphon for today is O King of the Gentiles. I'll start by reading the antiphon. O King of the Gentiles, and desire for them, cornerstone that makes of two one, come to save man, whom thou hadst made out of the dust of the earth. This O antiphon comes from the prophet Isaiah, and I'll read what Isaiah wrote in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. He says, "For a child has been born for us, a son given us. Authority rests upon his shoulders, and he is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace." So in this antiphon, this is the second antiphon where we see Jesus being proclaimed as king or as royalty or as a ruler. So it really begs the question, if it's important enough to be twice in only 7 antiphons, is he our king? Does he call the shots in our lives, or is there someone or something else that we obey? Do you and I obey Christ? That's really the question of this antiphon. Do we allow his thoughts to become our thoughts? And do we allow his priorities and his teachings to become our priorities and our teachings? Jesus told Pontius Pilate that his kingship was about the fact that he came to bear witness to the truth, and that those who would understand and would hear the truth would listen to his voice. So there's a connection between faith and kingship and obedience in this truth that Christ, who is the King, proclaims to us. This antiphon then goes on to refer to Jesus as the cornerstone. And while our experience of cornerstones in buildings, like if you go downtown Green Bay, you see the cornerstones in some of the old buildings that are inscribed, and they tend to be more ceremonial. But the cornerstone of a building, really, particularly in the time of the Old Testament, was absolutely crucial. It was the load-bearing stone of a structure. All the walls above it rested upon the cornerstone. Therefore, the cornerstone has to be true, it has to be plumb, it has to be level, it has to be perfectly cut, it has to be sturdy, it has to be strong, and it has to be firm. And Jesus and his teachings are this for us. He's the cornerstone and the foundation upon which we stand as Christians and upon which the Catholic Church stands. And Peter, as the first pope, is his vicar. Christ calls Peter the rock upon which he will build his church. Now, a question is, are we standing upon this rock of Christ and his teachings, or instead are we standing upon the shifting sands of the world? This antiphon then concludes by saying that Jesus is the desire of the nations. All of the desires that we think can be fulfilled by worldly things are really pointing to Jesus. They're pointing to the Lord, who alone can fill this God-shaped hole that we all have in our hearts. No one but the Lord can ultimately really fulfill us. But sadly, we go through our lives with this attitude of just one more thing, whether it be one more drink or a little more money or one more item that we get off Amazon or whatever the case may be. That one more thing, that one more action will fulfill us and make us happy, but it won't. Because Christ really ultimately is our desire. And as St. Augustine said, our hearts are restless, O Lord, until they rest in you. So are you and I in touch with this, particularly in this season of Advent and this season of waiting? And we're getting really close to Christmas, but are we in touch with this knowledge and this fact that it's Jesus Christ who is going to ultimately fulfill us, who's ultimately going to meet our desires? Or do we live with this never enough mentality where we constantly are in search of this one more thing to make us satisfied, but it never really works? As we prepare for the imminent coming of Jesus, let us rely upon him, his truth, and realize that he truly is enough and that he is the only thing that is truly enough. Thanks.